Hello? He's got to turn me up a little bit. Is that good? Okay. Look who's talking. Anthony Zumbo. Hello. My name is Wendy, and I come from the eastern part of the United States. I'm a pastor's wife, and my church is sending greetings to you, and they're praying for you. I'm so glad to see everyone here in the church, and it is a beautiful country that you have. That might seem like an odd thing for me to say to you, but that is a typical greeting that we would give to the folks when we would go to the church. So there will be 9 of us in our group, and each one of us had to stand and give a greeting to the church people there. So it was important for us to compliment them on their country and their people there. But also I wanted them to know that, you all were back there praying for me and praying for them. So don't forget that, because I made them a promise that you were praying for them. So don't forget that part. This picture really is actually, you're probably going to be very surprised when you hear this. This is the hospital laundry. And I just thought that was so beautiful, and at the same, so different than our hospital laundry would be. So that's one of my favorite pictures there. Also, everything that we said would have been translated. So when I said that, I would have had to stop at every 5 words and have it translated, because there was very few people in the churches that spoke English. Now you're going to ask, where in the world is Bangladesh? So this is just a map of Asia, because we couldn't fit the whole world up here for you to really see it. But right there, that little yellow spot is Bangladesh. It's bordered by India mostly, and just a tiny bit of Myanmar. Okay, just that little yellow part is Bangladesh there. So you see, it's below China. It's all on that side. It's very, very small, but it's very, very populated. It's about the size of Iowa, but it has over 170 million people there. It's very, compared to our, like if you think of Iowa with 170 million people, they wouldn't even fit, right? But anyway, it's also very beautiful. It's very lush there. They have the longest beaches in the world, which you're thinking is not very big, but it's because it has all these little rivers that kind of go up and down. So if you stretch it all out, it's the longest beaches in the world. So, okay, so here we are. This is one of the places that we stayed. This was a Catholic guest center. Now, there wasn't anything that had anything to do with really being Catholic, except it was run by nuns. But it was so beautiful the way they painted it. And those signs up there actually say, welcome and greetings. So they were very glad to host us. And also when we left, a lot of other people came from the United States as well as Bangladesh, because it was our 125th anniversary for us having missionaries in Bangladesh, which is pretty huge, given that it's such a small place. Let's see. That's the Catholic guest house. And the grounds there were very beautiful. There's probably other pictures. The next picture that I have is a picture of, that's some of the grounds here. That's rice and bananas that are growing. And they had lime trees. And that's just on the grounds in this compound where we were staying. And they had cows and chickens and nothing like a ton, but they had like enough they could really kind of sustain themselves. It was very beautiful, very beautiful. And this is our van. And if you're a part of the CGWM, this is the van that we sent money to help them purchase. It's a little embarrassing when you go there, and our name is plastered on everything that we've ever given money towards. But that is their way of showing that they really appreciate it. And, it's not just a casual thing. They're very, very appreciative of everything that's done for them. This is a 16-passenger van. It does not hold 16 Americans. Believe me. But it was comfortable. It has air conditioning, and, we traveled a lot in it. The first thing that's going to need to be replaced on that is the horn. They just go and honk their horn, and they just go and honk their horn. If you get car sick, you don't want to go there. So this is another sign that has our name on it, Churches of God Mission. This is in Kanjapur. This is where we have an eye hospital. It's also a compound. We stayed in a guest house here, and we also have a youth hostel there. The kids stay there. They go to school there. They do all those things there. And this is where our field director's name is Dr. John. He's in one of the later pictures. That is where he stays. And then he goes from there to different places and does eye camps, like a clinic. And if someone would need to have surgery or something like that, then he will bring them back. And that's really one of the main uses of that van. It's not just to travel us around, because we're not there that often, but it's also, that's what they use it for. It's really for the medical to travel around. These are the kids at the hostel. They greeted us when we came. That's the front of the hospital there. They greeted us when they came, and I don't know if you can see the girls have little dishes in their hands. They were filled with flowers and confetti, which were then in our hair after they threw them at us. But this is how we were greeted everywhere we went. We were greeted with flowers. We were greeted with hugs. They were very, I don't want to say touchy, but very, tactile people. They really want to, just really show you that they love you. Even if you didn't really know them, they just hugged you, and they were so glad that we came. And these kids prepared like a little program for us. They sang to us. They threw flowers at us. And then later they did another program for us. I think it's the next slide where they're holding candles. I don't know. That's all right. We might not have that one. But then they put necklaces around our necks with flowers on them. And they were just so grateful. This is the girls' dorm. It's very colorful, like the laundry that we looked at. And then we got a chance just to talk to the girls kind of casually, through an interpreter, and ask them questions about their school and things that they liked there or didn't like. The kids were actually on a holiday, so if we went to any other schools, we wouldn't have seen the kids. So we actually rearranged the direction that we were going for this trip so that we could see these kids. They asked for these kids to please stay this extra day. And it was just great because we did get to spend that time with them, and we wouldn't have if we had gone our usual route. Now, I look very serious in this picture, and it is because when I served this meal, they told me 2 pieces of chicken and 3 potatoes. And I'm not very good with math, so it took me a long time. Travis said that when I first started serving the food, that the boys he said their eyes were huge when you were serving them. And then the person in charge came over and told me, just 2 pieces of meat and 3 potatoes. Apparently, I was serving my son. But they wanted to go. You can see I'm wearing like the flower necklace that the girls had made for me. So that was quite a privilege for us to get to do that. Travis said that we've never done that before. He said that was so, and really one of our ladies asked, can we do that? Can we serve them there? We were in there while they were eating, and they said, well, can we serve them? And they said, sure, until, Wendy started giving them too much. But anyway, the biggest privilege of this particular moment was that I got to say grace. And that just was so great that I got to say grace over these kids for their meal, for their lives, for their futures. I mean, that was really a huge privilege for me. This is the front of the hospital. As you can see, it's the Miss Mary Hershey Memorial Hospital. She's a local person. She's from Lancaster. She was from Lancaster. And Anthony had a friend help pick me up at the airport. And while I was talking in the car, I was so excited and talking in the car, and I was talking about Miss Mary Hershey and Rhoda Kaufman and all this. He said, oh, I remember those ladies. They were from my church when I was growing up. I know, like that, I was like, it's just a name, but like then when you say, like, somebody knew them, like, that's great, so. And this is just one of the eye exam things, just like we have here. Some of the things they have there are things that we have here, some of the more modern things. If you go and get your eyes checked, you probably have to put your head in that crazy thing. So it was just an example. That doesn't have our name plastered on it, so maybe they bought that themselves. I don't know, but that was just an example that some of the stuff they do have is modern. They try and keep, things up to date if they can. It's not as easy for them to get things as it is for us. This is just an idea of a picture of some typical traffic. You name it, it's on the road, and it's in front of you. And there's even a policeman in that picture who's trying to direct traffic. There's a lot of pedestrians, there's a lot of motorcycles, a lot of rickshaws. These rickshaws were called moto rickshaws because they were pulled by a motorcycle. The one that I actually rode in was just a bicycle with a little cart on the back. I got that. That was a nice opportunity I had, just me, to go with one of the guys to the grocery store, and I got to ride in a rickshaw, and the seat's about this deep, so, and nothing to hold on to. It was a little tricky, but I did enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. And these are just some markets that we would have passed, many, 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 many of these markets along the way. This is how we were greeted at one of the other churches. They had drums, they had music, they did a dance, but we were always treated like we were so, so special. And one of the things that it did, not just that it was, so nice for us, but it drew in other people. They were like, what's going on? What's going on? Just like if we had prayed out here, we'd be like, oh, let's see what's going on. It would draw other people. And how is that great for, we're going to church, and everybody wants to follow and see what's going to happen at the church. And this is inside the church, and there are the kids. Those are not the kids from the church. They are neighborhood kids looking in the window, what's happening, what's going on. And they stayed there, and they brought their friends. I was like, what a great thing. Wouldn't it be great if you had kids piled out the windows looking in to see what God's going to do? This is a Sunday school. This was the only church that we went to that had like a separate thing that was a Sunday school. And so far, we haven't gotten to a church where it was a Sunday yet. These are all, we just went to visit, and they set this all up. This was a Sunday school. This had been their church building, and they built a new building, and so they were using this for Sunday school. The kids sang to us and did like a little program for us. We were supposed to be doing it for them, but they did it for us. And it was none of that was in English, but at the end, they sang a song that I recognized, and I knew the motions, so I started doing the motions, and they were like, oh. So that was really nice. Do you know the wise man built his house upon the rock? That was the song it was, so that I was able to do the motions with the kids, and that was really nice. And this is the church that they replaced that church with. This is in Barlow, and that's the church. It kind of has like a southwestern, like mission style building. The buildings weren't necessarily all the same style, but they were pretty much made out of the same thing: the stucco and that corrugated metal, whatever that is. So now we move to a different compound. This is the Bogra Mission, and here we have a bigger hospital. All these places that we went that were the missions were compounds, and so it's all fenced in and very secure, but we have a lot of buildings on these compounds. So this one, we have a bigger hospital. That's where you saw the laundry. We have an eye section there. We have babies, pediatrics, women's health at this particular hospital. And these are the nursing students. Also, they met us with songs and flowers. And the man in the front, he is, I'm not going to be able to say his name, he's the director of the hospital. And he was the sweetest man, and later he took us for a tour of the hospital. That's how I got that picture. The man that's all the way on this side of the picture, that's Dr. John, and he is our field director in Bangladesh, and he is the one who's the eye surgeon, and he works out of that Kanjampur. I guess he might come here sometimes, so he's not the main surgeon at this hospital. The nurses have different belts. They're different color belts, and that's what level of nursing they are. So if you're a plebe or a freshman, you don't have a belt. And then as you move up in the ranks, you get different color belts. And this is just another example of, the money that we've given over the years. It says, Brothers and Sisters from Churches of God, General Conference, Global Reach, USA. And on the other side of that, if you went in the door next to that, it was a conference room, and it looked just like a conference room any place else that you would go, with the big chairs and the big tables. And so that was just one of the things that we've given money toward. And here we are, plastered on this warming bed for a baby. This was in a delivery room. And I just wanted to show you, like, just some of the things. They have some of modern things and some of the things that we and other churches are giving money towards. And this is the NICU. And that's one of the things that Travis told us ahead of time. He said, in a hospital here, you're never going to get anywhere near a baby. He said, but in here, he said, you can just go right in. I actually pulled her little thing down so I could get it away from her face so I could take her picture. And she was the only one that was in there. And she's in like a little straw. It's just a little straw bed that she's in. I don't know what her situation was, why she was there. Maybe she was just small when she was born. I don't know. And here's a mother with her baby in a different section of the hospital, and also I don't know what the situation it was, but the mothers always stay with the babies. They just have a bed, and they're in the bed with the babies. This is a brand new church. Actually, one of our folks that went along with us, their church gave money to build this church. And they actually got to do the ribbon cutting, and we did a dedication for that church. And that church is 16 by 16. It is on government land. All of those people that go to that church, they're homeless, and they live on this government land. But there's an agreement with the government that they could build that church there. So we actually own that little plot of land, but you can't cut down any trees. So I don't know if you can see, there's a tree right in the front there. And Travis said, if that tree wasn't there, they could have made the sanctuary 16 by 20. But the other thing is that they use these churches for everything. He said there's something happening every day in those churches. It's not necessarily preaching or teaching, but they use it for school. They use it for shelter because, of course, they have monsoons there. So they use it for all different things. Those buildings are used. And does anybody want to guess how much it would cost to build that building in Bangladesh? Just a guess. Don't answer, Anthony. $2,000 to build that building. And it does have a little bit of electric. Okay, so this is kind of us in action. This is my team. The person all the way to your right is Samir. He is our field director in India, and he came along with us for this time that we were there. He was our interpreter. Okay, he's very educated, and he was our interpreter. But the reason I'm laughing in this picture is because he was actually using a little horse puppet. So when he talked, he used the horse puppet, which if you knew this guy, he's kind of serious, so it was sort of funny for him to be using this little horse puppet. I was also one of the puppeteers, but I had my puppet down at the moment because that little child that I was holding didn't like the puppet. So I think, it's maybe a little weird to them. But the kids really enjoyed this. It was a book about Noah's Ark, but it didn't have any words, and so they would show the pictures, and then the girl in the middle, Macy, she would tell the story. And you can see the kids are, very wrapped in attention there. They really enjoyed this, the stuff that we did with them, even though, it wasn't in their language, but like I said, Samir was able to interpret for us. And this is one of our pastors preaching, and then Samir interpreting as he's preaching. And that's Dr. John sitting right in the midst with the kids during the services. We took our shoes off when we went in, and it's not really because they think it's holy ground or anything. They do it because they walk in everything. And so they take their shoes off, and they have burlap bags or something on the floor. One of the churches, it might have been this one, they told us not to take our shoes off because they said there's ants. So we said, okay. And this is our whole team, except it's minus Travis, because he must have been the person taking the picture. But, the white folks are the folks that went on our trip with us. There were 4 from Missouri, 2 from Ohio, 3 from Ohio, and Travis and I are from Pennsylvania. And then the folks that you see that were from Bangladesh, the women were the ones who cooked for us and served us. And believe me, if they come here, we're going to be embarrassed by our hospitality, no matter how well we treat them. They just waited and waited and waited on us. It was incredible. And then the men were they drove us around or interpreted or whatever for us. It was great. We really just, in the very short amount of time, you really gained a relationship with these people. They just were so loving and so appreciative of everything we did. And that's just a reminder of how beautiful Bangladesh was. It was so lush and green because of the kind of weather that they have there. And I just wanted to remind you that I did say that we were praying for them, so don't forget to pray for them. And remember the work that's being done there. We have 175 churches in Bangladesh, and that's just amazing. I mean, you see the size of them. They're not real big, and they're not always packed full like they are when the Americans come, but, they're churches nonetheless, and the word is going forth. Thank you. Does anybody have a question or a comment? Yes, sir.
I assume this is a Muslim area?
Muslim and Hindu. Muslim and Hindu, yes. Mm-hmm.
When they divided India from Pakistan, India was primarily Hindu, and Pakistan was primarily Muslim. That's my understanding.
Yeah, it has a little smattering of all. The holiday that was sort of thrust upon us that we didn't know the kids weren't going to be around. That was Hindu. The Muslims' holidays are all very much set. Like you even get a calendar now and you'll see the Muslim holidays. But the Hindus, they just like, we're going to have a holiday. And they set up this tent and they have a holiday and the kids don't go to school. So it's a little different with that. Anyone else? Yes, Fred.
Considering their neighbors, India and China, how oppressed are the Christians in Bangladesh?
It's easier to be a Christian in Bangladesh than it is in those other two places that he mentioned. But I didn't see any persecution or I didn't see any problem with it. We were told to not try to evangelize while we were there. We could follow their lead. Apparently, they get like the lesser job if they're a Christian or, stuff like that. I mean, I don't think they're physically held back or anything, but it's definitely like kind of a mark against them if they're a Christian. One of the things the Christians really want to do, the Bangladesh want to do, is they want to build churches because the Hindus and the Muslim are like, well, our gods are in this, where's your God? Now, obviously, our God is all over, but they want to build a building so they can sort of show, how they worship. Somebody else? Yes, Michelle? Our living quarters? Well, I only showed you really the one place that we stayed, that Catholic guest house. That was more like a hotel. It was actually very similar to the hotel that we stayed in when we were in Kenya. It's very, brick or cinder block or cement. I think that's to keep it cool. We did have air conditioning in our rooms. And I think they think that in America we like it to be 40 degrees. Because they would have the ceiling fans going so fast that they were like rocking, and they would come into your room and set it for you. Like every time we went into a room, like 4 guys would come with us, and I'm like, what are they doing in here? And they'd be turning the ceiling fans in and turning the air conditioning as cold as they could get it. And then I'm like, could I have a blanket? It was warm there, but I actually was wearing a jacket most of the time. But we had nice accommodations. They gave us the best that they could. I would say the only thing that was uncomfortable were the mattresses. And I'm not sure what they were made out of, maybe straw. So the mattresses were not, like they weren't cushy. But everything else, they really made a huge effort for us to have hot water. They made a huge effort for us to have air conditioning. In the one compound that we stayed in, Bogra, the hot water, Travis said the last time he was there, they put the hot water, they have these tiny little like 10-gallon hot water heaters that are just hanging right over the shower. And he said they put them up there, but they didn't connect them. So he said, you have to do, okay. So they finally connected the hot water. So when the 4 guys took us in to show us our room and put on the, blasting air conditioning, and then they took us into the bathroom, and they were showing us, and I was like, that hot water is not connected to the shower. So the pipe that went for the shower was here, and the pipe that went to the hot water was here with a spigot at the bottom. So that's how they bathe. They just always use everything with a spigot, and they dump the water on themselves. We can't quite figure it out, but that's how they bathe. They just kind of dump everything, and so we didn't get a hot shower in that place, but we did have hot water, and they made every effort to make everything like we would want it. They served us chicken nuggets and French fries. So apparently that's what Americans like. I think that was because when they, like that chicken that I was serving the kids, they just take a chicken and they just chop it all up, but they don't take the bones out. So, it's a little hard for us to eat because we're just not, like, ready for that, So every time Travis goes, he tries to coach them on, like, this is what we eat, this is what we eat. And one morning they gave us green beans for breakfast, and he said, yeah, we don't really usually eat green beans for breakfast. But if you didn't eat it, you saw it again. So might as well eat it for breakfast. No, they were very, very generous to us with the food and the things that they made. They tried to make it like we would eat it. They didn't make anything too spicy. I don't want to say their stuff was hot, but it's just a different kind of spice than we would eat. And so Travis told us to be careful about what we ate just because it wouldn't really maybe sit with us because we weren't used to that kind of spice. I didn't eat anything that was spicy. We ate a lot of chicken, and one day they said, how about if we have beef for dinner? And Travis said, that would be great. Maybe you can make like beef stew. And so they were asking him all these questions. So later I said to Travis, I said, do you make beef stew? He said, no. I said, well, this is going to be interesting. So it was very good. It was the beef and the vegetables, like we would have. But, of course, it was their flavoring was different. But it was very good. So we liked Travis's recipe for beef stew. But they tried very hard to give us things that were, what we would like. They gave us a lot of soda. Somebody commented on the soda bottle. There was a lot of soda. And I think it's just because the water isn't safe to drink. Now, we had water bottles. They gave us, sealed water bottles. But they did offer us a lot of soda. And I think it's just because the water's not really safe to drink. Did that answer your question? Anybody else? So no, I wasn't roughing it. I'm sorry. I was not roughing it in Bangladesh. I did not sleep, except for having a hard mattress. I didn't sleep on the floor or have mosquitoes or anything like that. We lacked a little hot water, but I even stayed in a hotel the first 2 nights that we were there. By the airport, we stayed in a hotel, but yeah, they're very hospitable people and took very good care of us. They were very careful with us. And most of all, I thank all of you and whoever else that sent me, financially supported me to go there. I really appreciate it. It was probably not something I will ever forget. It was a great experience, and I hope to go again. I mean, if that opportunity comes, I would love to go again and be with those people again. Thank you.